Cervical cancer has impacted almost every aspect of my life. My job, my career, my mental health at stages, my marriage. I almost didn't engage with it for a while because it felt like I couldn't be a cancer patient at 26. I was so young, and that it was something that I may not be able to have children. But my story was lucky that it was picked up at a pap smear, but I went quite regularly for these, so I was pretty on top of getting these done. So yeah.
On the back of the conventional pap smear, Australia now has a very low incidence of mortality. So based on our old program, we're at 4.8 per 100,000 with a mortality of about 1 per 100,000, which is absolutely world leading. And what that tells you is that with the right systems and processes, you can achieve very good control of cervical cancer.
It was a surprise. As someone that was getting regular pap smears and had the vaccine, I was shocked that it was cancer and that I needed treatment and surgery. But I was 17 or so when I had the vaccine, and I'd already had a sexual partner by that time. So I did know, and I do know, that it's really important that girls and boys now have it, you know, when they're young, before they do have any sexual partners.
The vaccine that most young women have now received will prevent up to 70% of cancers. So there's 30% that are caused by types not covered by the 4-valent or quadrivalent vaccine. In Australia, we switched to the 9-valent vaccine last year, and that will prevent about 90% of all cancers. When those girls come through, we will have to think about how frequently we screen, or whether we screen at all, but possibly once or twice in a lifetime. For the moment though, there are many women over about 38 not vaccinated, and they all need to continue to be screened. The vaccine's not effective, optimally effective, if it's delivered after exposure to HPV. So we can't vaccinate the whole community and stop screening, and this is the management of these cohorts as they progress through our programs.
Because I had an aggressive form of cervical cancer, I ended up having a few surgeries to remove my cervix, which is the bottom of the uterus, and my lymph nodes and some of the tissues which could develop cancer again, and then not to have any chemo or radio so that I could try and have a baby. The surgery itself was quite intense. I couldn't really walk for about 2 weeks, and it was quite scary as a 26-year-old to have what felt like your womanhood cut out, and to be told that when I came round I might be infertile. So that was frightening. So it was just surreal to be able to have a baby despite the odds.
So I think the key message is optimal cervical cancer control requires every young girl who's age eligible to be vaccinated against the human papillomavirus, and every woman aged 30 to 49 globally to have at least one HPV test. And once that is in place, the next thing to think about is making sure that those women in whom HPV is detected are adequately followed up and treated, because we won't prevent cancer just by screening. Screening is a pathway that has to be followed through. And that's what we've been very good about doing in Australia.
I'm South African originally, and I find that we really do take the healthcare system in Australia for granted. I think sometimes realising how lucky we are, vaccinations, pap smears, blood testing, even how quickly I was treated in Australia. Being able to have a baby in the public system, which had never been done before as far as my team was concerned. That was amazing, and I'm so lucky to be here, because if I was in any number of other countries, my story would have been very different. So I think that my most important message that I can get out is have your children vaccinated, because vaccination is an absolute gift to your child, to give them the gift of not having to go through what I went through. Boys, girls, sex is part of life, and I think it's better to just give them the vaccination and it's one less thing for them to worry about. I love that they're now offering vaccinations to boys as well, because everybody can get protection from this HPV vaccination. It shouldn't just be the girls. And if everybody gets vaccinated, we don't have to worry about this anymore. In Australia, we're quite protected often from the true outcomes of cancers and many diseases, and it's my understanding that every 2 minutes there's a woman somewhere in the world that dies from cervical cancer, and we're so lucky to have access to vaccinations and treatments and checks that are all part of our healthcare system, but we need to use them. I know so many girls that have never had a pap smear. They think it's uncomfortable, they think it hurts, they think they don't need to. So there are still people that today need to go and get checked. And even if you've been vaccinated, go and get checked, because we can lead the world in eliminating cervical cancer. We've got the best healthcare system and we've got everything in place, but only if we go and use it.